So today we're gonna make a veggie chili. That's right, a yummy, hearty veggie chili. And we're gonna talk about how you are not responsible for other people's feelings and they are not responsible for yours. Okay, so we're gonna chit chat about both of those. But first, I've already started to chop, but I wanna show you in between here. I've chopped some carrots, celery, zucchini. I had that leftover zucchini from zucchini fries earlier. I'm gonna chop an onion, an entire bulb of garlic, and some lovely peppers. And I'm gonna use, when we did that cauliflower pizza the other day, I'm gonna use what's left over of the onions and red pepper. So we're gonna make this chock full of vegetables and we're gonna chit chat about your feelings, okay? So let's talk a little bit about your feelings. So with your feelings, right? This is the ego space that we talk about. Remember how I'm always talking to you about your ego and stuff? And listen, I'm not saying things don't happen and people don't say words or create actions or anything that you know, you have a let's say a trauma response or a negative response to. And that's okay, right? You're allowed that. But what you have to realize is another person is not responsible for your feelings. And that kind of becomes an ouchie if you're living in your ego, because you're like, I don't understand. This person made me feel, or, you know, when I talk to this person, they make me feel said thing. They don't actually. They create an action and words, and you create the reaction to that and the emotion to it. And the part to understand is when somebody, let's flip it and let's flip it the other way around. Let's say somebody feels some kind of way because you didn't come to the barbecue. Okay? It's not your responsibility to shift that. It's not your responsibility to do that, because if you're constantly worrying about how somebody is going to take something, you're going to constantly stay in that space. That's people pleasing, right? And people pleasers, this is big for you because you automatically feel as though you don't want somebody to hurt or somebody to be upset. I'm not asking you to intentionally be mean to anyone or to intentionally say mean and angry things to them, right? Intentionally. But remember that regardless, where somebody is going to be how they're going to take it. So if somebody's really balanced and found peace and meditates and really has accepted that space to it, if somebody has gotten there, they're not going to take the things in which you say and act personally, even if it is directed to you. Remember that when hurt people, and it's something very important to understand, that people intentionally will try to hurt you, okay, when they are hurt. Why? Because it's a weird control power move. That if, you know, these are the people who you find that seeks vengeance, right? If you've ever been a person to like want revenge and just constantly seek like you want to smear their name and stuff, remember that hurting someone else doesn't help you. Ever. And it actually makes things a lot worse on you, okay? Because you think that by telling somebody or airing somebody's dirty laundry or creating some weird sense of space that you feel like you're in control and that you're showing the justification. It's not your job to do that, number one. And number two, your feelings of hurt are valid to you. That's why they're up to for you to process. They're not for other people to make you feel better to process. And this is why you've heard me talk a lot about how I didn't expect anything from my dad as far as an apology or any of the other abusers or people who've hurt me, because it doesn't change the narrative and the factor. It just doesn't. So when you get clear in understanding that even though you're told you're right, you're justified, oh, here we go. You know, the cat likes to play with garlic peel. I don't understand. It's what he does. So you have to understand that when you are in that space and you say, I feel like such and such, and somebody says, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. If they don't feel as though they've done anything wrong on their end, they don't have to say, I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize if you don't feel as though you've done anything wrong. You can, however, say, I'm sorry you feel that way, right? And vice versa. But the reality is, just because you feel hurt and like upset because somebody didn't respond to you the way that you would, that's not for them to fix, right? And that's what we call emotional maturity, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not mature if you're not there. It just means that's something for you to strive for, all right? Listen, by the way, don't think that listen, I know you chop like this. I know this. I am not a person who does that because there's a good chance I'm gonna chop my face off. So I do it this way because I'm not serving it to the public. I'm serving it to the family. So we are going to finish this chopping up and I'll be right back. All right, I want to show you all of these vegetables. Look, like this isn't going to be yummy for you if you don't like vegetables, but if you want something really hearty and like filling and delicious, this is the veggie chili for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the stove. We're going to saute this up for about 5 or 6 minutes. We are going to add olive oil. Listen, I know a lot of you are like, if you like olive oil, cool. If you don't, that's fine. Use whatever oil you want. I like to use a lot of it because you guys know that that's my jam. And we are going to saute her up. Let's do this. So I'm going to let that simmer for about, you can do it in an Instapot. I like to do it on the stove. I do use my Instapot. I promise I'll do some Instapot recipes for you. But I like to sometimes just let it simmer because I like the smell of it in the house. So I'm going to let that go for about an hour. Doesn't even need to go that long because the vegetables are pretty much done. But I like for it to just like get all of those flavors in there. And then you can taste it throughout the time that you're stirring it. Because sometimes by adding the water, it'll break down some of the cayenne. So you want to add some more cayenne, however spicy you want it to be. So when that gets done, we're going to dive into an amazing heaping bowl of those vegetables and beans. And so good for you. It's gluten-free, baby. Gluten-free and sugar-free, minus the carrots, the natural sugars. So let me go back into this whole feeling state. That's how you get yourself in trouble because you're going to be like, this is how I feel. And it's valid to you, which is why you want to utilize a negative journal, not just a positive journal, also a negative journal, because it's a place for you to process your feelings. They are very real to you, but they're not facts because facts don't change. So if I say to you, this is a bottle of olive oil, it's a fact. You don't have to like olive oil. You don't have to like the color of the bottle. But regardless, this is a fact. Doesn't carry an emotional attachment to it. So I want you to be careful of not be careful. I want you to be aware when you differentiate how you feel and understand that facts don't change. Thoughts and feelings absolutely do. And you don't intentionally try to be mean, but you do have to stand your own boundaries and allow people to have their own boundaries. If you get your feelings hurt, that's for you to process. And then you want to go deeper with it and say, was I expecting me out of somebody? Would I have said this if this person said this? It's okay. You're allowed that. But just the autonomy of each individual to have their own individualization of how they do things is growth. It's mental maturity, right? It's emotional maturity, which comes with practice and daily actions. I'm not sure what we're meowing about over there, but it's something serious. But yeah, so I'll come back. Let's let that cook for about an hour or so. Movie magic, baby. And we will grub in and we'll talk a little bit more about feelings and then we'll enjoy it. And remember, as always, if you like the recipe or even if you don't like it and you try it and you added something to it, let us know in the comments because we don't all know everything and what one person's taste might be somebody else's taste. So that's the beautiful thing about life. And yeah, so be right back. Yum, yum, yum. Now, a lot of times I'll make rice for everybody else, and a lot of times I'll eat the rice too underneath here. And then I like to take fresh chopped cheese, right? We can use vegan cheese and mix it up. We obviously, look at the steam. You see that? We have to let that cool. But it's a great dinner. It freezes really well. chocked with a bunch of yummy goodness. So now that we have our food, let's wrap this up a little bit and reminding you that your feelings are valid to you. You don't need anybody else to validate them. How you feel is how you feel. But don't get caught up in thinking other people are responsible for changing it or shifting that perspective. And it's not your job to shift that perspective either. And so it does take time, and that comes with a lot of coaching and a lot of therapies and a lot of various things to really get you to the space of accepting and understanding that there's so much, so many things that are in your corner to deal with. And when you stop giving so many other people power, you really start growing, right? So just remember, no one's responsible for your feelings. You're not responsible for theirs either. So, but you are responsible for processing how you feel. So allow yourself to do that. Eat up, babies, eat up. If you make this, let me know.